In the early 1990s, luxury meant excess, power doors that side-closed, chrome so deep you could see your ambition in it, and a ride so silent it felt like floating through success itself. But behind the calm surface of that era's flagship sedans was a fierce arms race to prove who could build the most advanced automobile on Earth. Engineers chased perfection with no cost ceiling, and executives began to realize that technical greatness could threaten financial sanity. This is the story of one machine that embodied that paradox, a vehicle so overbuilt it became a legend for its own extravagance, and a cautionary symbol of what happens when a brand's pursuit of excellence meets the limits of the real world. Before we dive into how this masterpiece rose, ruled, and redefined the meaning of luxury, take a moment to like the video, subscribe for more deep dives, and tell us in the comments which automotive era you want to explore next. The 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 was not born from a simple design brief, it was forged from a mission to create the ultimate sedan, one that could never be outdone. In the late 1980s, Mercedes engineers were given permission to ignore budgets and think only of longevity, comfort, and technical perfection. The W140 project began under an atmosphere of immense pride and pressure. Mercedes had been known for making the world's best sedans, and the next S-Class would have to defend that crown against rising competitors from Japan and Europe. The S600, powered by a smooth 6.0-liter V12, became the centerpiece of this philosophy. Its design language was squared and confident, its engineering, a showcase of obsessive detail. Everything about it reflected Mercedes' belief that progress meant solidity, silence, and safety on a level no rival could touch. From the start, the W140's construction set it apart. The doors were so thick that early prototypes needed special hinges, each door closed using a soft-close vacuum system that ensured a perfect seal every time. The side windows were double-paned, not just to reduce noise but to insulate against heat and cold. Engineers used more than 2 tons of sound-deadening material throughout the cabin, creating a sensation of stillness even at high speed. The car's wiring harness alone was a complex web of technology, powering everything from power-folding mirrors to an automatic trunk that closed itself at the touch of a button. For drivers in the 1990s, these were luxuries that felt almost futuristic, the kind of silent intelligence people associated with aerospace technology. However, behind the engineering marvels lay a brewing concern. Each addition, each innovation, pushed the car's development costs higher. The W140 project exceeded its original budget by hundreds of millions, partly due to delays and re-engineering after early criticisms of its size. When Mercedes first unveiled prototypes, journalists and executives alike remarked that the car seemed enormous, even intimidating. Engineers adjusted the design, cutting back a few centimeters, but the reputation for bulk stuck. At over 5,000 pounds, the S600 earned nicknames that hinted at its character. It felt more like a vault on wheels than a sedan. That mass, though, translated to stability and strength, and for many owners, that was precisely the appeal. The 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 became known as the ultimate expression of 1990s German engineering philosophy. Mercedes built it to last decades, not just years, and it showed in every click, hum, and motion. This approach also defined how the car was built. Production required new factory methods, new materials, and stricter quality control than any previous model. It was the final Mercedes designed before accountants took significant influence in development decisions, and that freedom is visible everywhere. You can see it in the precision of the climate system, the weight of the controls, and the whisper-quiet idle of its V12 engine. Mercedes engineers designed the car for a world where efficiency was not yet a priority, but prestige was. They believed that comfort, confidence, and durability were worth any price. When the car launched, its features were unmatched. It had double-glazed windows, a self-leveling suspension system, and electronic stability features that were rare in that era. It even introduced parking sensors, a concept new to production cars at the time. Each system operated with mechanical certainty, like something meant for industrial use rather than personal transportation. It was luxury in its most literal form, the absence of compromise. Yet, for all its brilliance, the W140 S600 faced criticism. Some reviewers said it was too heavy, too insulated, too disconnected from the driving experience. Others argued that it represented an outdated notion of prestige in a world shifting toward efficiency and environmental responsibility. Even so, those criticisms did little to diminish the sense of awe the car inspired. Step inside, and the thick leather, the solid wood trim, and the subdued illumination created an atmosphere unlike anything else on the road. The S600 wasn't simply transportation, it was a declaration that comfort and control could coexist at a level beyond the ordinary. This was the peak of an era when engineering led design, when form followed the function of excellence. The W140 S600 symbolized the unspoken belief that a flagship car should not only impress, it should outlast everything around it. For owners, it felt timeless. For Mercedes, it became a double-edged sword. The car's immense cost and complexity forced the company to reconsider its future approach. The market was changing, efficiency and technology were beginning to redefine luxury. But in 1995, the W140 S600 still stood as the undisputed symbol of mechanical mastery. It was a car that could make other vehicles feel temporary. Every part of the W140 reflected that intent. The suspension system was engineered for total control, using advanced hydropneumatics to maintain perfect ride height. The cabin air filtration was medical grade, designed to remove dust and impurities before they could reach passengers. The V12 engine, with its 389 horsepower, delivered effortless speed, yet, it did so in near silence, with almost no vibration. Owners described it as if the engine weren't even running, just a seamless flow of motion beneath them. At a time when most sedans were striving for performance figures, Mercedes focused on refinement and isolation, creating a car that redefined how quiet luxury could be. But even perfection carries a price. The W140 S600's development nearly strained Mercedes' finances, prompting internal debates about how far was too far. When the model debuted, it cost significantly more than its predecessor, shocking both customers and competitors. It was the kind of car few could afford but many admired. Its presence on the road symbolized not just wealth but a commitment to the absolute best engineering available. However, as the decade progressed, the market began to shift toward lighter, more efficient luxury cars. Mercedes was forced to reckon with a new reality: innovation needed balance. The 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 became a marker in automotive history, the last car of its kind built without compromise. Its weight, cost, and precision were the result of an era of unlimited ambition. The S600 was not meant to be practical, it was meant to prove a point, that excellence could be absolute, no matter the cost. That belief would soon be tested, as the brand faced pressure to evolve. The next chapter would reveal what happens when unrestrained engineering meets changing economics and customer expectations. It would challenge the very philosophy that created the W140 in the first place. By 1995, the Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 had reached full production, but its impact was still unfolding. The car was a masterpiece of engineering excess. Every component reflected an obsession with perfection. Yet behind the prestige, Mercedes executives were beginning to feel the weight of its ambition. The W140 was expensive to build and even more expensive to sell. Its complexity made servicing difficult, and its price placed it in a category few customers could reach. For Mercedes, it was both a triumph and a burden. The company had proven that it could create the best sedan in the world, but it had also discovered the cost of being unmatched. Inside the company, debates grew intense. Engineers saw the W140 as the ultimate validation of their work. Accountants saw a warning. The cost per vehicle was staggering, and the car's enormous development bill forced Mercedes to rethink its future strategies. The automotive world was shifting toward efficiency, and new luxury players were entering the field with more accessible approaches. Rivals produced cars that offered modern features without the same over-engineering. appealing to a younger generation of buyers. The W140 S600, while technically superior, began to feel like a monument to a fading era. Owners, however, viewed it differently. To them, the W140 S600 was more than a car, it was a symbol of craftsmanship that might never be repeated. Its build quality was extraordinary, the doors closed with vault-like precision, the suspension delivered a glide unmatched by anything else, and the cabin was insulated so effectively that outside noise felt like a distant rumor. The driving experience was serene. The 6.0-liter V12 offered immense torque that responded effortlessly, transforming highway travel into quiet dominance. For those who drove one, it wasn't just luxury, it was engineering purity. The philosophy behind the W140 S600 came from a period when Mercedes measured success by durability and precision rather than marketing or image. This philosophy guided every detail, from the reinforced structure to the advanced electronic systems. But as the 1990s progressed, the automotive industry began to change. Environmental regulations tightened, materials evolved, and technology accelerated. Efficiency became the new prestige, and lighter vehicles became the goal. The W140, in its majestic weight and solidity, represented the opposite of that direction. Still, its reputation endured. For many engineers, the W140 S600 became a case study in what happens when technical goals are allowed to exceed commercial logic. The car was not just over-engineered, it was the physical embodiment of perfectionism. The design teams aimed to make a car that could withstand decades of use without deterioration. They succeeded, but the result was a machine that tested the boundaries of practicality. Maintenance costs were high, parts were specialized, and repair procedures required exceptional expertise. Yet, even decades later, many W140s remain operational, a testament to their meticulous construction. The W140's influence extended beyond its physical form. It forced Mercedes to confront new questions. Should a car aim for technical immortality or commercial balance? Could perfection ever be sustainable? These questions shaped the brand's direction for years to come. In response to the financial strain and evolving market expectations, Mercedes began shifting its design philosophy toward lighter, more efficient vehicles. The W220 S-Class, which followed the W140, reflected this transition. It was smaller, leaner, and less expensive to produce. Many enthusiasts viewed that as a loss of the old Mercedes spirit, but for the company, it was survival. The 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 became a dividing line between two eras, the old world of mechanical excellence and the new world of digital luxury. The W140 represented engineering as art, where no detail was too small and no expense too great. The cars that followed represented a new mindset, one focused on technology integration, sustainability, and profit margins. This shift was not only a business necessity, it was a reflection of changing consumer values. Buyers began to care more about features, connectivity, and design flair than about overbuilt durability. And yet, the W140's character continued to resonate. Even as automotive trends moved toward minimalism and efficiency, enthusiasts cherished the W140 as a benchmark of what a car could be when engineers, not marketers, led the process. The S600, in particular, carried an aura of timeless capability. It was the sedan for those who valued substance over style. Its technology, once cutting-edge, still impressed, its presence on the road still commanded respect. There was a dignity in how it aged, and that dignity became a powerful symbol of the Mercedes identity that once was. The legacy of the W140 S600 also influenced how modern cars are perceived. Many of today's luxury vehicles borrow ideas from its innovations: soft closed doors, insulated cabins, advanced stability systems, but none replicate the same sense of mechanical integrity. The W140 stood for a philosophy that said luxury meant longevity. It meant building something that could outlast trends and expectations. Even as the automotive landscape evolved, the W140's DNA remained a reference point for what uncompromised engineering looked like. By the late 1990s, however, Mercedes was already transforming. The lessons of the W140 had been internalized. Perfection could not come at the expense of progress. The company had to balance its heritage of quality with the demands of a modern market. That evolution gave birth to a new era of vehicles that blended advanced technology with refined efficiency. Yet for many within the company, and for countless enthusiasts worldwide, the W140 S600 would always stand as the pinnacle. It was the moment when Mercedes reached its highest point of technical purity before descending into a new reality shaped by economics and global competition. The story of the 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600, then, is not just about a car, it is about the philosophy that created it. It is about the pursuit of excellence beyond reason, the pride of craftsmanship meeting the weight of consequence. It is the story of how one sedan captured an entire era's belief in the supremacy of engineering, and how that belief had to evolve. The next stage of this story reveals how that evolution changed not only Mercedes but the definition of luxury itself, leaving a legacy that still influences how we measure greatness today. By the late 1990s, the Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 had already begun to cement its legend. Its over-engineering had made it both a symbol of greatness and a turning point for the brand. The car represented the apex of Mercedes' old philosophy, where engineers, not accountants, ruled development. But it also exposed the financial risks of unlimited ambition. After the W140, Mercedes would never again build a car with that level of disregard for cost or practicality. The shift in mindset that followed would transform the company's future and redefine what luxury meant in the modern age. The W140 S600's legacy began with its owners. From heads of state to business magnates, it was the chosen car of those who valued authority and presence over flash. The car's proportions were imposing, its mass communicated confidence. For these drivers, the W140 was not about showing off wealth but about projecting permanence. In cities across the world, the sight of one gliding silently through traffic signaled power backed by substance. It was an icon of the executive world, and for years, it set the standard by which all other luxury sedans were judged. However, times were changing. The automotive industry was entering an era driven by efficiency, safety regulations, and digital innovation. Mercedes could not continue building cars like the W140 without compromising profitability. The following generation, the W220, marked the transition, lighter, sleeker, and focused on new technologies like adaptive suspension and early telematics. To many enthusiasts, it felt less substantial, even fragile, compared to the W140. But this was the inevitable cost of modernization. The world that had celebrated over-engineering was now asking for efficiency, and Mercedes had to adapt to survive. Despite this transition, the 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 refused to fade into obscurity. It found a second life as a cult classic, revered by collectors and engineers alike. Many consider it the last true S-Class, a car that embodied the soul of Mercedes at its most uncompromising. Even today, enthusiasts speak of the way its doors close, the stillness of its cabin, and the enduring precision of its mechanical systems. Its V12 engine remains one of the smoothest ever built, capable of running for hundreds of thousands of miles with proper care. In a world of planned obsolescence, the W140 became proof that longevity was a form of luxury. The car's design also aged gracefully. Its once controversial size now reads as stately rather than excessive. The sharp edges and restrained detailing give it a timeless quality that modern cars often struggle to capture. There is a kind of purity in its form, free from unnecessary decoration. It was designed to communicate function and authority, not trend. As years passed, that restraint became its greatest strength. The W140 S600 now looks less like an artifact of the past and more like a statement about permanence in a disposable world. The W140 also left a lasting mark on the industry. Many of its innovations became standard features across the luxury market. Soft closed doors, parking sensors, electronic stability control, and advanced climate systems all trace their lineage back to this model. In many ways, the car laid the groundwork for what we now consider the modern luxury experience. But while others adopted its features, none replicated its construction philosophy. The materials, tolerances, and testing methods used for the W140 were simply too expensive for large-scale continuation. It was a singular moment in automotive history, when one company decided to chase absolute perfection just once. As decades passed, the W140 S600 began to represent something more than technology or design. It became a symbol of integrity, a reminder that products could still be built with purpose beyond profit. In an era when software defines much of the driving experience, the W140 stands as a monument to mechanical mastery. It doesn't rely on digital interfaces to impress, it relies on its sheer physical quality. Every component, from the heavy switchgear to the smooth hydraulic systems, feels engineered for eternity. That tactile honesty resonates deeply with enthusiasts who see it as the last car built for engineers rather than for marketing teams. The car's endurance has also turned it into a bridge between eras. When new, it represented the future. Now, it represents the values that the future left behind. Modern luxury cars are faster, lighter, and filled with screens, but few deliver the same sense of permanence. The W140 S600 reminds us that luxury was once defined by how much care and time went into making something. It was not about constant updates but about enduring excellence. In that sense, the W140 is timeless, not because of nostalgia, but because it achieved something few cars ever have: it made durability desirable. Culturally, the W140 S600 became more than a luxury car. It appeared in films, political convoys, and music videos as a universal shorthand for success and stability. Its presence carried authority wherever it went. For decades, it served as the official state car in many countries, a role earned through its unmatched reliability and understated power. Even today, when one appears on the road, it commands respect. Its quiet confidence stands in contrast to the flashier vehicles of the modern era. It does not shout, it simply exists with assurance. In retrospect, the 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 was a turning point not only for Mercedes but for the entire concept of automotive luxury. It represented the last chapter of an analog age, when mechanical excellence defined progress. After it, the industry moved towards software, data, and digital assistance. But even as cars became smarter, few achieved the same sense of integrity that the W140 embodied. It was the high watermark of a philosophy that said luxury should feel indestructible, and its legacy continues to influence how enthusiasts and engineers think about quality today. The W140's story is not just about engineering, it is about identity. It asks a question that still matters: what should luxury mean? Is it the convenience of new technology, or the assurance that something will last for generations? The W140 S600 argued for the latter. It was the car that refused compromise, the sedan that embodied excellence without apology. Its story remains a reminder that progress is not only about moving forward but also about knowing what is worth preserving. And as Mercedes evolved beyond it, the W140 stood behind as both a benchmark and a ghost, a reminder of what happens when a brand gives its engineers total freedom to build the best car in the world. The 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 leaves behind a legacy that extends far beyond its model years. It remains one of the most studied sedans in automotive history, not only for its features but for what it represented. The car was a statement of confidence, a time when Mercedes believed that no level of excellence was too costly. It proved that engineering could be an art form, executed with precision and purpose. Even now, nearly 3 decades later, the W140 still feels modern in the ways that matter most: silence, stability, and an undeniable sense of strength. Looking back, the W140 S600 can be seen as both a triumph and a lesson. It proved that absolute quality was achievable, but also that it came with limits. Mercedes learned from it, the world learned from it. The car demonstrated that when engineers are given complete freedom, they can create something extraordinary, but it also showed that markets and economies eventually demand balance. What makes the W140 story compelling is that it captured the exact moment before that balance shifted, standing as a monument to human ambition at its most focused. Its influence can still be felt in every S-Class that followed. The W220 may have marked a new direction, but it borrowed the lessons of refinement and technological ambition that the W140 perfected. Later generations incorporated digital systems, lightweight materials, and efficiency goals, yet they never completely abandoned the foundation the W140 built. Its DNA lives on in the pursuit of quietness, safety, and understated confidence. That continuity is proof that even as philosophies change, true excellence leaves a permanent imprint. For owners and enthusiasts, the W140 S600 has become something of a legend, a rolling time capsule from an era when quality mattered above all else. Many of these cars continue to operate today, defying age with the same calm authority they carried in the 1990s. They remind us that craftsmanship can outlast technology, and that genuine engineering integrity never goes out of style. The W140 was not designed for planned replacement cycles, it was designed to endure, and that endurance has become its greatest advertisement. In the end, the 1995 Mercedes-Benz W140 S600 stands as a story of balance between brilliance and burden. It asked hard questions about what it means to be the best and whether perfection can ever be practical. Its legacy continues to inspire admiration from those who understand the discipline and devotion required to build such a machine. The car itself is a paradox, both a warning and a masterpiece, both the height of success and the cause of necessary change. The W140 S600 remains the last great symbol of an analog luxury world, one defined by physical excellence rather than digital complexity. It reminds us that progress is not just about new features, but about preserving the values that make engineering timeless. For anyone who has ever admired a machine not just for how it looks or performs, but for how it was built, the W140 stands as the ultimate example. It is proof that true craftsmanship may bend under time and economics, but it never disappears. That is the lasting lesson of the over-engineered luxury tank of the 1990s.